Hi everybody, welcome back to Ox Talks. It is October 29th, 2023. It's a Sunday. I appreciate you all being here. To those of you who have recently subscribed to the channel in the last 24 hours or so, I really appreciate that, and I hope that you enjoy the content. If all of you are enjoying the content, please share the videos with your friends. Please like, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell notification so when I put new content up, you all receive some notice that it's being posted. So I woke up this morning. I think I mentioned on Friday's video, I was scheduled to take a deposition in a case on Monday, tomorrow. And I was going to have to be preparing a lot this weekend for that procedure, for that process, and then take that deposition tomorrow. So I woke up today early, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I kind of dreaded, the day. I was kind of just, laboring this whole idea of having to put in 8 or 10 hours into this file to get prepared to take this deposition tomorrow. And lo and behold, I was up about an hour and a half or so, and I received notice that the opposing counsel had filed some motions late last week. In discussion with the client, we decided that we were going to continue the deposition into like mid-December. So I reached out to the witness, to opposing counsel, to the court reporter. Everything was put over. So it kind of cleared my calendar for today and really for tomorrow, because my day was going to be comprised of taking that deposition all day. And it was almost a sigh of relief. When you have your own business, there are no days off. You can't just call in sick. So I was out of bed this morning at 6 a.m., having coffee, getting my mind around what I had to do today to get prepared for tomorrow's proceeding. I would have had it done, but it was kind of a welcome relief. Family's down at the beach today, coming back tonight. So I just had an open day where nobody was really relying on me for anything. It felt kind of good. I didn't have a scheduled workout class today. I didn't say that I didn't work out. I did, in fact, do about an hour and 20-minute workout here at my little home gym. Did about 50 minutes of weight sets, and then did about 30 minutes of cardio. Burned about 650, 700 calories in that time. Felt good. All of you should be, you don't have to necessarily go to that level, but there's no reason why you all can't be getting in 15 to 30 minutes of cardio a day. If you can, work in some weight routine to strengthen yourself. Cardio doesn't strengthen you. It strengthens your heart muscle. Doesn't strengthen your body, though, necessarily. It makes your endurance better and your heart better, but you need all of that. So give it some thought, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups. You can do those from anywhere. You don't have to join a gym to do that. It costs nothing. We need to be in shape so we are prepared mentally and physically for what's unfolding. So anyway, that's kind of how my routine shifted over the weekend. So I was able to get a video up right now to all of you today, and I'll likely do one tomorrow. But again, thank you for everybody that came over to the channel in the last 24 hours or so. It means a lot to me. So I saw an article in the Daily Hodl that says $100 million in deposits exit U.S. banking system in 3 weeks, as Fed survey says banks face financial stability risks. And that was actually from the 27th. And it says that the deposit flight comes amid a new survey from the Federal Reserve that polls 25 participants, including market professionals, academics, investment funds, and research and advisory firms. And it says many respondents continued to link risks of re-emerging banking sector stress to potential losses on CRE, commercial real estate exposures. It says participants also view the commercial real estate sector as a potential trigger for the systemic stress amid higher interest rates and declining demand for office space due to the shift to a hybrid work environment. Says that survey respondents viewed small and regional domestic banks as particularly vulnerable due to their higher concentration of CRE exposures, which could lead to tighter banking lending conditions. I was having dinner with a friend of mine last night, and I've been friends with this person for, going back to probably 2002, 2003. And He is a developer by trade, a contractor, and he was able to capitalize on the residential development wave going into the last financial crisis. So in the early 2000s, 2003, 4, and 5, he was on the upswing. Did really well for himself. Built several home communities, which were successful. There were waiting lists to get these homes at the time. So when the crisis came along, things slowed down. He wasn't prepared for it. He didn't see it coming. His partners didn't see it coming. The banks tightened up their lending standards, and their funding didn't come through for subsequent phases of these projects. And the bottom line is they lost everything. And he had to go back to work. He took a job outside the area. And for many, many years, he actually had to commute to 2.5 hours to a job because the development jobs and the construction jobs had dried up in the local community for many, many years. So he recently is back in the community, and he's working with a really wealthy group of folks who are developing and building properties for themselves and doing potentially some spec homes in a very, very upscale gated community out here in the Coachella Valley. I'm not going to name the name of the community. It's become really popular lately with a lot of celebrities buying in, super wealthy business people and high net worth individuals. And so we were talking last night, and he was explaining to me, we were catching up. I hadn't seen him for probably a year and a half. He was telling me how, his next 18 months is going to be basically dedicated to building from the ground up this guy's personal residence. It's like a 22,000 square foot house, all the amenities, top-notch stuff. And then after that he's looking to partner up with this gentleman to do a couple of spec homes, speculation homes and builds in this same community. And they're looking to acquire the 2 or 3 lots next door and to have this all slated out in the next, several years. I said, what do you think? I questioned him about, what is his position about what's happening in the economy, and does he sense that, this is going to be, potentially a worse downturn than even 2008? And I raised the prospect of possibly the commercial real estate sector and these commercial-backed, mortgages triggering a crisis that then bleeds over, obviously to the regional banks, but also to residential real estate and to all these speculators and developers. And you know what? He didn't really want to engage the subject. He didn't seem to have, and if he sees this video, he might be a little pissed off at me. I'm not beating up on him, but he didn't really have a lot to engage on. He didn't feel that there was much of a risk, and that he kind of seemed to indicate that he believed the higher net worth individuals were going to be kind of immune from all this, and they're going to go on to continue to build all their, huge houses and then do their spec and flips. And, I question that thought process. I hope and pray for him that it works out as he is planning, because he is, getting towards the end of his working years, and, he needs this for retirement. So I sure hope that for him it works out. But I was just trying to make him think a little differently, a little critically about what's going on. And I was testing him on some data points. He didn't seem too up to speed on that. I know he's got his head down working, but look, these guys didn't see it. A lot of developers didn't see it coming in 2008, and I don't think they're seeing it coming now. There's a lot of people that are either in denial or still are just oblivious to what's unfolding. There was an article on the Business Insider I saw that came out, I think it just was today. And it says Elon Musk, Jamie Dimon, and Ray Dalio just issued fresh warnings about the U.S. economy. Here's what the experts recently said about recession risks. And these are just quotes from these guys. So these are top people in their fields, leaders, pioneers, and here's what they're having to say. They're making warnings. We need to listen to this and pay attention. Jamie Dimon, we've discussed this before, says this may be the most dangerous time the world has seen in decades. Elon Musk says I think there's still quite a few shoes to drop on the bad credit situation. Commercial real estate obviously is in terrible shape. I'm not saying things will be bad. I'm just saying they might be. If the macroeconomic conditions are stormy, even the best ship is still going to have tough times. Leon Cooperman, CEO of Omega Advisors, he says, I've been of the view that the price of oil, the strong dollar, QT, and the Fed will push us into a recession. We've got to get our house in order or we're headed for a crisis. David Solomon, CEO of Goldman Sachs, says, I'm still of the belief that there's been a lag with this tightening. I do think over the next 2 to 4 quarters, the impact of that tightening will be more evident and will create slowdowns in some areas. There's been an escalation of geopolitical stresses around the globe, the war in Ukraine, the ongoing tensions with China, and now the conflict in the Middle East. Overall, levels of risk are more elevated than we've seen in quite some time. And then lastly, Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates. Mr. Dalio says, if you take the time horizon, the monetary policies that we're going to see and so on will have greater effects on the world. And so you look at the world gap, so it's difficult to be optimistic on that. And then the last article I saw this morning, which, brings it full circle about, these cheerleaders that continue to push the narrative that everything is fine, that you should be buying the dip, that every pullback in the market is a buying opportunity. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you not to buy stocks. I'm not telling you to buy stocks, but I question the narrative. All of you should question the narrative and do your own homework. Lastly, I'll address this article from Yahoo Finance. It says the S&P 500 will rocket 18% by year end as the economy stays strong and the Fed ends interest rate hikes. Oppenheimer investment chief says. It says the S&P is due for a monster rally by the end of the year as the Federal Reserve looks poised to dial back its war on inflation, according to Oppenheimer's chief investment strategist John Streutzfuss. In an interview with CNBC on Thursday, Streutzfuss reiterated his S&P 500 price target of 4,900 by the end of the year. That points to the benchmark index skyrocketing 18% in just over 2 months. A forecast is predicated on the Fed likely ending its rate hike cycle. How many of you believe that the Fed is going to be ending its rate hike cycle? And how many of you believe that the S&P in the next 8 weeks is going to gain 18%? Is it possible? Sure, relative to the S&P. I personally am not of the opinion that the Fed is done hiking rates anytime soon. I think we're going to see more rate hikes. The Fed is going to keep the pedal to the metal. As they said, there's going to be, people are going to feel pain. So take all of this and process it. Hopefully I'm able to, every day I'm reading news, I'm watching different YouTube channels. We all have the ability to learn more, and we all have the ability, and we should be taking this stuff in, processing it, and then use it how you see fit in your daily life relative to the key issues right now, which is paying down debt, getting your credit score stronger, shoring up some cash reserves, and again, we've talked about food reserves and water reserves. That goes without saying. You really, guys, should be working on that. We've seen, I think Jeremiah, Babe, and I yesterday discussed this whole food insecurity situation in this country. Food prices, I think, are going to keep going up. And, you need to start acquiring and buying this stuff now, having some extras put aside. There's no downside to it. Worst case scenario, you just use it. So with that being said, I hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. There's a lot brewing right now. Again, in the Middle East, I watched a little while ago. The tensions are rising. Lines are being drawn. I haven't checked the metals market as it opened about 20 minutes ago on the futures or the stock market. I wouldn't be surprised to see those moving. With that being said, thank you all again for being here, and I will see you tomorrow.